Hello, and welcome to History Inquirer, as where we inquire into the past to understand our present. Today's episode will focus on the history of U.S. interests in acquiring Greenland. Greenland has been all over the news recently, with President Trump seeking to purchase the island nation from Denmark. The question is, why? What is so important about Greenland? And is Trump the first president to try to purchase Greenland? What is the history here? Well, I'm going to do my best to explain what is going on, starting with history. Greenland is the world's largest island with a very harsh climate and known for its tundra and glaciers. It was first settled by Paleo-Inuit peoples and later by Norse Icelandic explorers led by Eric the Red in 982 AD, with the two main settlements being settled in 986 AD. However, during the 14th century, the population declined, and by the 15th century, Greenland was mostly abandoned, likely due to the cooling climate. Then in 1721, Hans Egede established a trading company and Lutheran mission near what is now Nuuk. Under the authority of the Kingdom of Denmark, Denmark-Norway, they were united at the time. And now in 1776, Denmark formed a trade monopoly with the Greenland colony, which closed the ports of Greenland to foreign trade until 1950 to 51. It was also in 1776 that the United States declared its independence from Great Britain and would go on to win the American Revolutionary War in 1783. From that point on, America would continue to expand and grow. In 1803, the U.S. doubled in size with the purchase of the Louisiana Territory from Napoleonic France, continuing a tradition of purchasing land from foreign powers, beginning with the colonies purchasing land from the Native Americans. America would increase in size again following the Mexican-American War and the addition of Texas and the American Southwest. Following the Civil War, Secretary of State William H. Seward, under President Andrew Johnson, negotiated the purchase of Alaska from Russia in 1867 in order to expand U.S. control and authority over North America, although at the time it was mocked as Seward's folly. It wasn't until the Yukon Gold Rush that people started to realize the benefits of the purchase. And this is also the reason why, since Seward's purchase of Alaska was ridiculed, that his later attempt to try to purchase Greenland did not go over well. Yeah, to see Seward turned his attention toward Greenland after trying to purchase Alaska, rather successfully purchasing Alaska, I should say. Now, like I said, the idea did not go off the ground, and no official offer was made to Denmark because the American people did not see the reason in acquiring another frozen wasteland. As one of the articles that these researchers said. However, surveys were conducted of the island, and those were made of the island's resources such as coal, seal, shark, cod, whale blubber, etc. Now, another reason for acquiring Greenland, which is still true today, was its location. If you look at a map, and there should be one up here on the screen somewhere, Alaska guards the entrance to the Arctic on the west coast, and Greenland does the same on the east coast. Or at least on the Atlantic side, whereas Alaska on the Pacific side. Anyways, so the reasons for purchasing Greenland included national security, natural and mineral resources, and trade as well. Trade with today with the melting ice and the opening of the Northwest Passage and Northern Sea routes, this has become even more important. Now fast forward to 1910. In 1910, the U.S. offered Denmark a territory swap. The U.S. would give Denmark 2 islands in the Philippines in return for Greenland and the Danish West Indies. Denmark could then give the Philippine Islands to Germany in exchange for the territory of Schleswig-Holstein that they wanted. Now, the idea failed. However, it did provide the groundwork for the later purchase of the Danish West Indies, otherwise known as the U.S. Virgin Islands, in 1917. Now, fast forward to World War II. During World War II, the U.S. used Greenland as an air base to refuel, rearm, and refit aircraft for strikes against Germany. But how they were able to do that? Now, following the occupation of Denmark by the Nazis, the Defense of Greenland Treaty was signed with Denmark's ambassador in 1941. Thus, the U.S. became responsible for Greenland's defense, and the U.S. could then use Greenland as an airbase to conduct the bombing operations against Germany. Okay. Now, after the war, the U.S. gave the island back to Denmark. But because the island had been such a strategic asset, and with the Cold War heating up, the Truman administration tried to purchase the island from Denmark for $100 million in gold in 1951. Denmark refused. However, they did agree to sign a treaty that would allow the U.S. to use Greenland as a military base for national security. Between 1951 and 1953, the U.S. constructed Thule Air Base as on the northwest coast of Greenland under a secret project, Blue Jay. This allowed the U.S. to rapidly respond to threats from the Soviet Union. In 1955, the Pentagon, under President Eisenhower, showed interest in purchasing Greenland. However, no offer was made. Once again, the reason was location, since Greenland is a critical midway point between America and the former Soviet Union. And of course, the other reason was national security, because of the Cold War. Now, in 1953, Greenland officially became an integrated part of the Kingdom of Denmark, with Home Rule being established on May 1st, 1979. In 2008, many Greenlanders, 3/4 of those that voted, saw greater autonomy from Denmark, with Denmark handling foreign affairs and such, and the Greenlanders taking over everything else. Anyways, moving on. In 2019, Trump floated the idea of buying Greenland from Denmark, but no offer was made. In 2020, Thule Air Base was renamed Pittsburgh Space Base, hope I said that right, under the U.S. Space Force. And now, in his second term, President Trump is pushing hard to acquire Greenland. Why? Now, the reasons for this are, once again, national security, access to natural resources, especially the rare earth minerals, and commerce. National security is one that has already been discussed, but is still important. The U.S. still faces potential threats from the former Soviet Union, now Russia, under Vladimir Putin, and also from China, who, despite not having territory in or close to the Arctic, has declared itself a near Arctic power. Both China and Russia have been moving ships through the region So it makes sense for the U.S. to want more of a presence there. Currently, the U.S. has an early missile defense warning system in place to warn of any incoming missiles, and under current treaties, if the U.S. wanted to increase its military presence, then all they would have to do is ask. The other issue is that because of the melting ice sheets, new sources of rare earth minerals have become available, and access to those would reduce dependence on China and other nations. Some of these resources are lead, copper, zinc, iron, uranium, cryolite, graphite, ytterbium, tantalum, gold, oil, and gas. That is natural gas. In addition, new sea lanes have opened in the Arctic, such as the Northwest Passage and Northern Sea Route, which shortens the travel time between Asia and Europe and North America. And Greenland is right in the middle of it all. So if the U.S. were to acquire Greenland and fully develop it, and then that could make Greenland into a major commercial hub, potentially rivaling New York or New York City. But that is a speculation on my part. I don't know how big that it could become, but anyways. Like I said, it's all about speculation, especially since Denmark and Greenland have repeatedly made it clear that Greenland is not for sale. That said, the U.S. wants to increase its military presence in the region, then it can certainly do so. And as far as mining rights go, I'm sure that something could be worked out. If nothing else, trade with Greenland is a possibility. Really too, if not being done already. Anyways, that's the history of Greenland and its relationship with the U.S. and the reasons why the U.S. wants to purchase Greenland. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time on History Inquirer. Thank you.